something, and don't let it freak you out if you totally have your sheet all filled out and you feel like you've accomplished this and you're good to go. But we're going to do something because we realized that our list wasn't accurate. We had a couple names that weren't on it and then a couple names we took off, mostly our names, so that they would all fit. So I'm going to hand you a yellow one with an updated list. Actually, I'm going to put a pile at your table and I want you to share them out with each other.
I just filled it out.
I know, don't freak out. I just want you to look at the list. Make sure your name is on the list. After you take a yellow sheet, pass it to another table, please.
Find your name. I don't want to do that.
Take a yellow sheet and then pass it on to the next table, please.
My name's on here.
Okay. Make sure your name is on the list before we do anything else, please.
Tell the people. There's my friends watching. Tell them what to do. She's gonna take over.
All right, voices completely off, please. Thank you. Okay, everybody who's in this room has their name on the list, yes? Okay, for those of you, Hugo, who are freaking out saying, I already did this, I don't want to do it again. I want you to look and notice, whose name did we add?
Hugo.
Ava, yeah. So if you thought you had your list complete, but you didn't have Ava Klein on your list, then you weren't done. Ava Klein's name is on the list now. Okay. So Hugo, you say you're done. Have you put a butterfly on for every person on your list?
I have these.
I'm asking Hugo.
I only wrote down like 5 people. These like God.
So what I'd like you to do for today, I'm going to say your name and the person's name below you, and you're going to take this yellow sheet, and it's just, you're going to be in partners, in groups of 2. You will not be in groups of anything larger than 2. Just find a spot at a table or somewhere to hang out with this person to listen for your next direction. Well, actually, I'll tell you what you're going to do. When you go hang out together, you're going to ask that person how many siblings they have and where they fall in birth order. If they have 3 siblings, are they first, second, third, fourth? And then I want you to write it on the line next to their name on the yellow paper and wait for the next instruction. Okay, Abby and Andy, you guys are partners for this activity.
Jackson,
Go.
you're my partner. Who?
No.
We don't pick partners?
Okay, Hugo, I'm going to repeat the directions again for everyone. You are going to go, we're going to go down the list, groups of 2. Abby and Andy are partners. Go find a spot to answer the question about siblings. Where's Abby? There you go. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Abby.
No, you don't need to do it loudly.
Jackson.
This is private conversation.
Come on, I get Harrison. My partner's Lizzie.
And Welly,
Jackson.
Audrey.
Where's he?
Oh, everyone else's voice is off right now.
You gotta shut up, Jack.
As I'm calling names, look at who I'm saying so you start to learn who that person is. And Dwelly, did I say your name right? Okay. Did I say it correctly? Can you say it correctly? Andwele and Audrey. Audrey, there they are. Okay. Ava Klein, stand up so we can see who you are. Ava Lures, did I say, she's not here, is she? Okay, Ava Puglisi. Puglisi? Okay. Find out about each other's siblings. If you're done asking about that, maybe see if anything horrible or hilarious happened during their week. Bella and Braden, are they here? Braden? Okay, Braden, you're with Brianna. Each other, Braden and Brianna. Charlie, Charlotte.
I don't know.
Dallas, is he here? No Dallas? Edie?
Tolly's not here today.
Emma, Tyler? Okay. Eva? You see each other? Okay. Fee's gone. Grant?
He's never coming.
Greta? Gwyneth Hartford. Is Harrison, Hugo.
Where's Harrison? Harrison's not here today.
Okay, Jack
It's Hugo.
and Hugo.
Okay. Yeah, Jack, you got stuck.
Jackson. Jonathan. Jackson. John.
Okay.
Caleb, he's in here. Lance.
Lance.
John.
Lost siblings.
John.
What are you doing? I'm oldest. You're oldest?
Lily and Lizzie. Oh, Lizzie's not.
Wait, are you in?
Lily and
are you
Lucas.
in Fifth grade. I'm
Lydia.
a tiny seventh grader.
Macy's in here. Nick. Toby.
So tonight we're going to be talking about the way our church is organized, and actually on the back of this paper is our org chart. Do you know what an org chart is?
No.
It's like an organizational chart that has the structure of how the church works.
Let's go treasurer.
So, have you guys ever heard the term congregational?
Yeah, I've heard the word. That's what
What do you think it means?
conjunction.
Anybody heard the word congregational? It's on the sign out in front of our church. It says
Oh, it's working together.
congregational church.
Working together is great.
Grant? Oh, okay. Anybody else got a stab at it? What?
You're so mean.
That's a congregation. But what does it mean to be a congregational church?
Working together.
Yeah?
To work together with people.
Yeah, you work together with people. Yeah? Yeah, but that's not congregational. Are you guys going to be able to sit together?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
If they care, I can
I don't know.
there.
Yeah. Welcoming. It is a welcoming church. But the meaning of congregational is the way decisions are made. So in a congregational church, the decisions are made by the annual meeting of the congregation. So who's the highest power in decision making in the church? Yes?
God.
Well, okay, next. Then after God, John? What? No, exactly not. Exactly not. Grant?
The congregational MTG.
That's the congregational meeting. So who's at the congregational meeting, Grant?
You.
Me? Yeah, okay.
Oh, I got another one.
Harper?
Hugo.
Okay.
I was just saying that.
So, at the top of the chart there, if the highest, the most powerful decision maker is the congregational meeting, then logically it's the congregants who are the highest power. Who are the congregants?
You.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Hugo.
So it's kind of like a upside down triangle where all the people are in charge of the church, and it trickles down to the minister. The minister has the lowest amount of power in the church. Now that's different in a different denomination, in a different church or the Catholic Church. Those churches, the minister is the highest authority, and they can make decisions without getting an opinion from anybody else. But here, it's the annual meeting, it's the people that vote. So, what they vote on, the primary thing that the church people vote on
I'm sorry, I was giving her something.
is who's going to be elected to the different offices. So kind of like our country, we don't weigh in on every single decision that happens, right?
No.
But we elect people that we want to make decisions on our behalf. So the same thing in this church. We elect officers. Those officers are right here on the next line under the church council. It's the moderator, vice moderator, and vice moderator elect. Do you know what those mean? The moderator is like the chairperson of the church. So that's the highest of the officers is the moderator. And the word moderator is kind of cool because it means you're like facilitating a conversation, you know, where decisions can get made. So some of those decisions are made in the church council. And then there's a treasurer who takes care of the money. There's a clerk who takes care of like tracking church membership. And there's an ad hoc member, which means just a random person from the congregation, not on any boards and not an officer. And then an archivist and historian. But lately they've had just 2 at-large members on the council. Yeah?
Do you have to pay to be a church member?
You don't have to, but we're gonna get to that.
You get to.
You get to. Also on the church council are all the chair people of these boards. So our church is set up in boards that are responsible for different things. And those people on the boards are also elected at the annual meeting by everyone. And you have to be a member of the church to be on a board. Weston, you getting all this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the chair of each board, and those are appointed in the board setting. Everybody gets together for their first meeting and they're like, who wants to be the chair?
Me.
And most people are like, not me. And sometimes it's hard to get a chairperson. Because the chair also has to go to the council. So all the chairs of the boards are represented on the council as well as the officers.
Do the chairs get paid?
Nobody gets paid. It's all volunteer.
Do you get paid?
Yeah, I'm staff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say nobody gets paid. But none of these people on this chart.
Wait, then why are the administrator and the ministry team on the bottom?
So ministry team, that's the people that work here.
Yeah.
The people that are directors of the program, so you got Rebecca, me, Mary Beth.
Oh, the
They're
people
in
on the
charge of
board
different,
get paid. People on the thingy don't get paid.
don't get paid, right, they're volunteers.
Makes sense.
And then there's administration, so we have like secretaries. Weston, do you want to come up here? It might be better.
You can join me.
And then,
One Weston. Don't be shy.
so we have people that run the church. There's a business manager, there's an advertising person, there's secretaries, that kind of stuff. Jackson, what's up?
He was one.
What?
Wait, did the janitor,
Okay.
the janitor part of the church
The janitor is one of those administrative
get a
people.
turd?
Any questions on how the church is organized?
No.
So this is another look at it on here. It's basically the same thing. But then, how do I get to different pages on here? Oh, I think I got
Then you click on
slides. Where's that?
This is PowerPoint, Hugo.
I didn't say that. That was Lydia.
How do I get
Lily.
to?
Oh yeah, it says slides right up there.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, good job.
So today we're gonna look at Board of Youth.
Is that you?
And here's the chart on that. So Board of Youth, and you have the description right here. What are you guys doing?
Let's go three to a table. There's enough to. So one person,
Okay,
one of
okay.
you join that table, one of you join that.
What you say? Youth administration.
Okay, so the Board of Youth is responsible for faith development, programming, trips, leadership training, visioning, fundraising. So we have about 15 people on the board. They're all volunteers. Some of them are like youth leaders, some of them are parents. And what we decide is, you know, what kind of trips we're gonna do. If we're doing a mission trip, we're gonna say, you know, what kind of mission trip should we do this year? So this year, actually, the Board of Youth decided we're gonna do a mission trip with the junior high that you're all invited to in June 17th to the 22nd. And we're gonna go to Austin, Texas and do a food advocacy thing.
Guess
So-
what that means? Stuck in the car with me for 12 hours.
So,
Boys.
what?
We're driving now.
We're driving down.
Unless you want to make my ticket. Wait, do we get a ski trip?
No,
Why?
Meet every day.
because the Board of Youth decided you're not doing a ski trip.
I want to keep Jackson.
You can bring it up with the Board of Youth. So, in order to pay for our trips that we do, and the trips are really awesome, they're one of the highlights of the year. But in order to pay for those, you know, we don't have enough money in the budget to do that. So we do fundraisers. And one of our fundraisers is this massive garage sale that we do every year.
Oh, can I buy
And
them?
then, settle down. And then another one is, we used to call it the stock sale, where people could invest in students, and so they would basically, you know, donate money. It was another way to get them to donate
Can I
money.
buy them?
Yes,
So is Texas in the middle?
guys? What? Texas in the beginning of summer. It's a dry heat.
It's in June. I can't go.
Can you explain to me how you would make money off a kid?
Well, you basically are saying, you know how in a stock, you would invest in the stock and then it would grow? And
I get it now.
so it's like
Grow.
invest in a student and then watch the dividend grow because they become a wonderful person.
Oh, so my parents can invest in me?
John,
My parents can just give me money?
if we have enough people to take a bus, otherwise we'll do bands.
I want to do a butt.
But usually we go in different places, so we'll probably do
I'll
bands.
make it a party bus.
Okay. You're
You'll make
running
it the
out of
battle
comments.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so also, we have what's called a budget. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but there's a certain amount of money that the church gives us every year to do our programming in junior high and senior high. And so then we decide, given that amount of money, how are we gonna organize that? So we have different line items, so we say, you know, junior high activities is, we're gonna spend this much on it a year. Senior high activities, the Sunday night meals, mission trips, and then, and leaders. We actually spend money on the leaders too. So we, as a board, we look at how the money's being spent and if we're on the right track or if we need to make changes. Is this a real question?
How much money do you guys get?
It's about 17,000
Oh,
Yeah.
so,
For us?
for all the youth stuff that we do.
oh, so
Yeah.
like the lock-ins, like,
Yeah, like a login.
it's like 1,000?
$1,000? No.
Okay, wait, what, how much is a Sunday dinner then?
Sunday dinner, it depends how many people are coming, but, you know, around $80 a week, you
Oh,
know.
that's easy, bro.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
every
these people
week,
pay
though.
10 bucks,
So-
you're rich.
But like the urban plunge, that'll be a little more money. The mission trip will be a little more
Wait,
money.
you have to pay for the urban plus, but we're
Yeah, he gave,
I thought we were
no, he
volunteering.
gave him a big tip at being.
Oh wait, we gotta get the fish.
And then the other thing that the Board of Youth does is discuss like new ideas and things that we want to do. So this year, one of the things we came up with was that we wanted to do more family stuff. So every like 6 weeks or so, we're gonna invite, you know, the whole family for dinner and games and stuff like that. So not only you guys that are in junior high, but maybe you have younger brothers and sisters, and they're all welcome to come, as well as your parents. So we're trying to do more of that, connecting families and stuff like that. Take it easy, okay? You can take notes on this stuff. So, any questions on the Board of Youth?
So they control what we do.
Yeah, I mean, they decide what you're gonna do, but it's also based on feedback and stuff like that.
Wait, so how much does a mission trip usually cost? Like 7?
Austin will be like $350.
That's easy.
Shut up. He needs 3,500.
Kids can be on board with you.
Oh, and yeah, we do, all these boards, and this is why we're telling you this, all these boards can have a student that's a member of the church on it. So when you get confirmed in the end of 8th grade, you can decide if you want to join the church. And if you do, you have the opportunity to be on one of these boards. And we'll talk about all the boards and things that, you know, might interest you about the church. And so you can participate, you can have a voice. Like some of our conversations, we really want to know what the students think. So we're glad, we have 2 students on the Board of Youth, so we're glad to have them, because it's like, all right, we've been talking, now what do you guys think? And they'll say whether they think it's a good idea or not, you know. So, any other questions? Usually you're on a board for 3 years.
Whoa. That's like the whole high school.
Yeah. Oh, usually the students, it just depends on when they join. So this year our students are seniors, so we'll have to replace them. They don't get paid.
Oh yeah, the volunteer.
He goes to sleep. Money, money, money.
And so who do you think is the higher decision maker, the Board of Youth or the youth director?
The
Raise
plank.
your hand if you think it's me.
Yes, it's a trick question.
Raise your hand if you think it's the Board of
The
Youth.
plank.
It's the board.
The Board of Youth is correct. Now it's an interesting compromise. Lucas, did you get excited about that question? It's an interesting compromise because the Board of Youth is like in charge, and they're actually in charge of me too. Like they would say, you know, what are you doing these days? And I would tell them, and they might say, well, we want you to do this instead. It happens, not very often, but you know, because the board are volunteers, and they're there for a few years, and so sometimes they're not tracking with everything as much as other times. And I'm here like 40 hours a week or more, and I'm thinking about it all the time. So sometimes it's this like kind of dance, but I believe in the system that the board is ultimately the one that's in charge, not me. So I'm kind of like a servant to the board.
So they can fire you?
Well, in a certain process.
Oh.
If they wanted to fire me, they could bring it up to personnel. But, you know, stranger things have happened. I've been fired before.
You go always banned.
So we're going to now look at what it means to be a member of the church. And you have a pamphlet.
I don't have a pamphlet.
Well, that sucks.
Where'd you get a pamphlet?
When I put pamphlets on the table, you take the pamphlets. So
That's a proof. That's a, you wish you had.
that's why I put them on the table.
Really, yours is just open.
It's a pamphlet.
Jack, I can do that too. That's it. Serious?
Lance, Lance, I was do this.
That was Lance. Does anybody like to make videos?
I like
Because we could have a video operator on the class.
Oh, me, Jack, get up. Show me Jack.
Maybe we can take turns, right?
We gotta get all day.
Okay. So, you got the pamphlet. And when you actually go through confirmation and you're invited to be a member of the church and you say yes, then you not only become a member of Countryside Community Church, but you become a member of the United Church of Christ, which is a denomination that we belong to. A denomination, which is a word for a certain kind of church, a certain partnership among the churches. So churches have formed, Christian churches have formed into denominations, and they usually have a structure similar to what I showed you with our church. Our headquarters for the UCC, that's what we call it, the UCC, instead of United Church of Christ all the time. The headquarters is in Cleveland, and there's churches all over the country, and maybe in a couple other countries too. So you become a member of the United Church of Christ, which is kind of neat. And membership is kind of a thing that grew out of like the early 1900s when people wanted to be members of clubs and guilds and things like that. So, right, today membership isn't as important to people. You know, people can come to the church and not be a member. They can just be a good friend of the church, you know. So why would somebody not want to become a member of the church but want to be here?
Maybe they just want to listen to the stuff, but I don't know, not come every day or a week.
Well, you can be a member and not come every day or week. In fact, we have statistics that say the average member comes to church 1.2 times a month. And I don't know if that means they leave early on that second day.
1.2
Lucas?
times a year.
Oh, why do you think somebody would want to become a member?
Oh! Because then they feel like they're part of the church.
They feel like they're part of the church, but you can feel a part of the church and not be a member. Because nobody, I mean, we don't wear badges or anything, so nobody knows who's a member and who isn't. Harbert? So they can be on the boards, sure. And serve the church in that way?
The religion.
What?
The religion.
The religion? I don't know what that means.
They just want to be a member.
They just like maybe they didn't grow up and like go through confirmation here, but they have that same religion and they like move here or something.
Oh, so they want to be a part of this kind of religion. Yeah, but they don't have to be a member to do that. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, there's a commitment there, kind of like a family commitment. Yeah, there can be that.
What if they just they're like looking for a religion?
I think that's what Jack said. You go one more.
You have to be a certain age to become a member.
You have to be at least confirmed.
So not being.
So when you get to the end of 8th grade, I suppose if you went through the member classes before confirmation, but here we generally allow people to join either by getting confirmed or you go to a new member class after that age, so 13, 14. So one of the big things of being a member is you can vote in the annual meeting. Yeah. So if you go to an annual meeting, they actually have a big sheet of names of the members and they'll check you off as a voting member. So you can't vote if you're not a member.
At the front desk, they have all these little name tags with people and those members.
Not necessarily. There are people that come and they get a name tag.
My name's not on there.
So, why become a member of a congregation? Because you can vote.
Oh,
I just said it. And you can be on a board, you can serve on a board. And you can not only serve on a board, but you could be a moderator, a person that makes a lot of decisions for the church. So the council makes a lot of decisions because you vote the council in, but there are certain decisions that can only be made by the congregation. For example, if somebody wanted to become a minister in this church, the church would have to call a special meeting, a special congregational meeting, and they have to get the whole congregation together. And then they say, well, do we want this person to be a minister in our church? And then everybody that's at the congregational meeting can vote, and that's the only way you can become a minister at this church. So there is such a vote this Sunday.
really?
Yeah.
Who's becoming a minister?
Huh?
So then, are we kicking out the?
I am.
You're becoming a minister.
So I'd love for you guys to come and vote, but you're not members yet.
Wait, are you still gonna be our youth director?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. I don't want one old cranky guy.
it's not gonna change my job a lot. But I shouldn't say that on the camera.
Hey, dude.
Okay, what is the process for becoming a member?
Oh, you must.
For you guys, you go through confirmation, and then on confirmation Sunday, you're asked a bunch of questions and you have to say yes to them, and then you become a member. There's one other requirement though. Do you know what it is? No, you don't have to write a paper. That's for confirmation. That's to
You
get
must go to
confirmed.
church at least 3-4 times.
We don't have a rule on how many times you have to go to church to
Told
be
me
a
I have to do
member.
that. She's lying.
Oh, that's to be confirmed.
Yeah, that's confirmation.
I'm talking about
Virtual reality.
what's another requirement to be a member of the church? What? Nope, that's to be confirmed.
You have to be able to. You have to be confirmed.
We
You have
already
to be
talked about that. There's
confirmed,
another
but you have to do
requirement.
service hours to get confirmed. So technically service hours is that.
Baptized?
Baptized, Jack got it.
Baptized.
I was baptized
When I was
here.
young.
We actually require people to be baptized to be members of the church, and a lot of churches
Wait,
do.
you usually get baptized when you're young, right?
Some people get baptized as babies, not everybody does.
I was baptized in a creek in Iowa.
What? Can you get baptized by your grandpa?
No, was I?
Yeah.
Wait,
Of course. No, they just sprinkle water on your head.
Really? They tell-
Or you do it in a river or a
They
pool.
put me in a creek.
She could get dumped, but you know, you wouldn't want to kill her.
Get out of here.
Yes,
Can you dunk me?
yes, we can dunk you.
Yay, we're here to be baptized.
If you so choose to be dunked, you can be dunked.
You've never been baptized?
So,
I want to be baptized again.
how many of you guys were baptized?
Me.
Eh,
Jack.
I don't know. You're not
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I was.
Hey, don't be critical.
Don't be black.
Well, when you choose to get confirmed, you're gonna have to be baptized before you get confirmed. So
Oh.
generally, we'll do that on Easter Sunday or one of the Sundays before
Wait.
confirmation, and then on confirmation, because confirmation is confirming your baptism. So in the church that baptizes babies, the parents are basically saying, we're gonna raise this child Christian, you know?
I didn't say
And
that.
you didn't have a choice in it. You were a baby. You weren't even talking yet.
My sister
And then, so confirmation is saying, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go along with it too. So you're kind of confirming your baptism and saying, yeah, I would have got baptized if I had the choice. Yes?
When you're gonna confirm, do they just ask you a bunch of questions and you give them your paper that you wrote?
Something like that.
Okay.
You'll find out pretty soon.
It's too
Yeah.
weird.
What if you, like, it's a question that you have to answer no to, but you have to say yes to get confirmed?
Oh.
We'll go over that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're gonna fail
Our
that.
questions are more like discussional kind of thing, like, are you willing? They're not dead solid. But the membership questions are a little more like that, where
Is
you have
baby-
to say
Is
yes.
baby an answer?
Maybe is not usually an answer.
What about?
Do you want to join this church?
I don't really
Maybe.
care.
I don't really care about character.
Okay. I think one of the questions on there is, what is your commitment to Countryside as a member? So when you become a member of the church, what's your commitment to the church? What are some ideas on that? What would you commit?
I would probably go to church at least once a month. maybe.
Okay, so you're gonna commit to be part of the community by
Try.
attending once a month, which is the average. Charlotte?
You have to be an informed member.
You want to be an informed member? So you want to know what's going on in the church? How do you know what's going on in the church?
On the church.
That's one way. We also have a newsletter and a website and the meetings. Sometimes you have to go to the meetings to find out what's going on. That's kind of the downside, because meetings can be boring. All right, what else can you do? What's your commitment to Countryside? Yeah? Time? Yeah, time being here, but also time helping serve the congregation. So,
What does that mean?
well, like, most of the things that we do are done on a volunteer basis. So like, when we have a dinner in here for the families, that's volunteers that are coming and making dinner. So you could volunteer to make a dinner or volunteer to clean it up. Like, we don't have paid people to do all that kind of stuff. Or the community cupboard, you know, where we serve like 1,000 people on a Saturday food, that requires a ton of volunteers. So time is a great thing. If anybody ever wanted service learning hours, I always need help with something, so
How many hours?
I can give you word. Urban Plunge is
Wet.
a bunch of hours.
I'll just do that.
Is it all of your hours?
Yeah, all of your hours per year.
Do we get another lockout?
It's so easy. Guys.
Yeah, I know.
We're not talking about lock-ins right now.
Late November.
Is there gonna be another lock-in?
We're still recovering from the last one. Next year?
Every other month.
Every other day. Every week.
April. March. Let's pick a March.
Can we do like 2
It's too soon to make any decisions about lock-ins.
If we're good and holy.
You can't be good at it.
Okay, I got the whole
Another commitment to Countryside that members make is financial, so. Yep. Because we can't do everything here, everything's based on donations, everything that we do. So anything we pay our staff is all from people's donations in the pews. Anything we do on the building is all from donations. Moving to the Tri-Faith is donations. So it's a big thing. And it would be really hard for just a few people to accomplish some of the things that you can do with a church like this. So it takes a lot of people giving a little bit of money. So a lot of churches recommend, and it's from the Bible, that you give what's called a tithe, which is a Hebrew word for a tenth. So a tenth of your income, and this is a generally advised financial plan. You know, when you make money, you give 10% away, and it doesn't have to be to the church, it could be to a charity or whatever you're into, and then you also save 10%. So if you make $100 a week, you're putting $10 toward giving it away, because that's a good thing for you to do, and you're putting $10 in your savings, and the rest of it you can do with what you want.
So, like, is there mostly like older people that older than 50 that come to the church? Like most of the average?
You're asking the demographics of the church?
Yeah, but then, so all the money that we get $17,000 for, that's from donations, right?
Yes.
So all that money is usually coming from people that are over
It's not usually coming from you guys.
50
Yeah.
years old. So like,
I don't make it.
I don't know the largest demographic of the church, but it's probably not the oldest generation. It's probably like the middle age.
like the 90s.
Our parents.
Yeah.
I want to go back to where you asked, why would people want to be a member? And, you know, it sounded like the big emphasis is because you can vote or because you get to be on these boards. But the reason you would want to vote or even be on a board is because you care about what our church or the church you're joining stands for and the things that we do as a community. That's really why you become a member. And then if you care a lot, you do those other things.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Jack, no
I
need to
was
clap. It's not even
being very businessy about it. No heart in that presentation. Okay, and then the last question is, what is Countryside's commitment to you as a member of the church? What do you think? What do you think the church commits to you?
Give you a proper education about God.
Yes.
what she said.
Give you a proper education. So we have education from kids through adults. You know, there's something to learn about all along the way, and we've expanded that as we've gone toward the Tri-Faith. You know, now you get to learn not only about the faith here, but Jewish and Islam and other faiths as well. So that's good. Yeah.
Are we gonna get confirmed here at the new church?
The new church.
Let's
Wait, did the old people get confirmed here?
We should do the lock-in.
Yeah.
Go stop.
Oh, let's talk about the lock-in again.
Yeah! Wait, they're locking in another year. Wait.
I remember saying at the lock-in, you guys were like, let us in the sanctuary, let us in the sanctuary. And I was like, Do you promise to not take food into the sanctuary?
Jackson, Hugo.
And I picked up.
No, but Jackson Good is stolen from Hugo, so it was Hugo's fault. I was sleeping. It was Hugo's fault because he brought the food that Jackson stole. Yeah, he took it.
Everybody
It's not
calm
your
down.
fault. You brought it.
I was sleeping. It's always my fault.
You pulled it all nighter.
I was asleep for an hour and a half.
I was supposed to go to a parade, but it was a weekend, so I didn't go.
Okay.
We should have another one just for me because I missed the last one.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, real.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Nobody needs to go to school on Friday.
the church commits to you to provide educational experiences. What else do you think they commit to provide to you?
Well, they give you food. Sunday food.
Like a family, but not your real family, but like a church family.
A
Okay.
community.
A community.
Like he said.
Friends to hang out with.
We also provide worship experiences, so there's services and stuff like that. We also,
Food. Like Sunday dinners.
sometimes we provide food. And food's kind of a community thing, because generally when we provide food, we want people to get together, you know, and talk to each other. We also provide pastoral services, like if you're in a tight spot or a bad place, somebody would go visit you and
Give money.
and help. Sometimes we give money to people that need it. Maybe they lose their job or something like that, and they need rent. Sometimes the church will give money for that. We do other programs, you know, that are for your benefit. So they say the church spends maybe $100 a year on each member in various programs and things like that. People look at that kind of stuff.
How
I
many
don't really
members do
look
you
at
guys
that.
have?
But they say we have about 1,200 members.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's like
So, and there's another thing that the church commits to you is to pray for you. And if you had a prayer need, you know, you mention that to somebody and you could get on the prayer list, or just if you wanted something for prayer, you could tell me or tell the office and somebody would pray for you on that. So that's another thing. And then we provide services like weddings and funerals, you know, so if you want to get married, you can do that here. If you want to die here, we'll do your funeral.
I don't plan on dying.
So those are things that we provide to you as well, so. Any other thoughts? Any other questions?
Wait.
Yeah. No, we do weddings for non-members and we do funerals for non-members, but funerals are more for special situations, like maybe you're connected to a member, or you've been coming regularly. If you come regularly, that's almost as good as being a member too, so.
How much donations do you guys get a year?
okay, Hugo, you pass the line where there's no stupid questions.
Funerals are pretty cheap.
Do we,
The church
wait,
isn't providing it, they will.
They provide a space.
Most of what you pay for is the funeral home and you pay for the people that are in the service. So if you have a soloist or, and then you pay a little cleanup fee, I think. So, yeah, it's not free. And it's not, yeah, weddings are the same. Weddings cost a little bit, not much.
If you die, I mean, when you die, will you get the funeral at the new church or this church?
This
Depends when you die.
If you don't
If you die right now,
Well, he's been in
funeral will
this
be
church for a
here.
long time. Maybe he's connected to it.
Hugo's funeral will be at Epic Games headquarters.
Oh, we got a couple minutes. This is our church mission statement, which has been adopted for maybe 5 or 6 years. And we read this anytime we do communion, just to kind of remind ourselves who we are. So, do you want to say it together? We always say it together. We are an inclusive, open and affirming family of faith, welcoming welcoming all to God's table of love and acceptance. We are diverse yet united by Christ's example. We care for one another, support one another, and challenge one another to become all that God creates us to be. We work together to nurture our community and to promote peace and justice in our conflicted world.
Hallelujah!
I think that's a pretty great mission statement, actually, so. And Lance knows it by heart. He said the whole thing without looking.
How do you know that?
Got the hallelujah part.
All right, any other questions? Have a good night.
Do you want to be the video man?
What? Yes, please.
Pretty easy. But we don't have to make it so